Good morning, good afternoon, and a very good evening to everyone. Welcome to another TFD video. On this video, I was planning on actually talking about the big changes patch 1.0.5 has brought us, but seeing as there's so many people talking about it already and in much more detail than me, I've decided to talk about the side effects of what this update brought us instead. Why, you ask? Well, it doesn't matter what game you're playing, updates mean fixes, and fixes can mean stuff can break too. Doesn't matter what game we're talking about, some updates will always make new bugs appear. Well, then, before we talk about the stuff that broke, or stuff that just downright disappeared with this update, first of all, let's do a quick recap of the quality of life changes that I think made the most impact on my gameplay, and it probably will affect yours. Overall, the changes are great. We finally have a freaking search bar on the consumable tab. Feels like this took over a year to finally become a thing, since I actually wanted this feature on the beta test. We don't have to press and hold the dismantle button multiple times when dismantling a large amount of equipment anymore. But FYI, if you're experiencing the same thing as I am, even if there's nothing in your inventory anymore, the dismantling button can sometimes appear as active. I don't know if this is just a visual glitch or there's still some problem in the code, but hopefully they'll fix it sometime in the near future. Another good change that they have brought is the fact that we can now dismantle modules by using the filter section on Cilion. And the module combination animation is a lot faster than before, which is a really good change. Also, thank God the devs finally gave us the ability to turn off camera shake. Now the game feels so buttery smooth, it doesn't make me feel as dizzy anymore, as well compared to pre-patch. But my problem now is it somehow made it feel weird to aim. It's so smooth now that my aim is all messed up, but that's a skill issue and a me issue. Anyways, there's finally a reference image of what some of the graphics settings do when you turn them up or down in the options menu. Single shot burst fire weapons can now fire continuously by just changing a gameplay settings. It's a wonderful change. We finally got lots of fixes made to characters, weapons, modules, and even the field effect or mechanics. Not sure what that means. I'm not gonna be super in-depth since I can't even test over half of these fixes. But TLDR, Ajax can't kill Fiesta and Valby anymore, so great change. Or fix. Let's not forget quite a number of stuff was also buffed in this update, like weapons, character abilities, and skill modification modules. But the best news of all is that Ultimate, Valby, and Luna are both finally in the game. So yeah, I still haven't tried Luna, but we'll get there. I'm also planning on farming for both characters and making my own builds on them. And if I feel like it, I'll probably share them with you guys and upload a video on it. But for now, we'll talk about some of the new annoying stuff I found after the update came out. First off, let's talk about how some missions are not spawning as much enemies as they should, like the White Knight Gulch's shipment base Fortress Outskirt mission. This specific mission used to spawn so much enemies, if you make a single mistake even with a souped up bunny build, you can basically turn the game into a crawling simulator. Now, it's spawning like 3 or 4 enemies at a time with a big interval. The devs have said that they are aware of this and they're working on a fix, so all we can do now is wait. But that's not the only place with this issue. On White Knight Gulch mountaintops, the mission Borderline of Truth also has some enemy spawn issues. It's not as bad as Fortress Outskirts, but it's also quite noticeable. due to the fact that when I did this a few weeks ago, when I was trying to farm for MP Collector, the module, I have managed to kill myself 3 times in one run due to the density of enemies in one small area, and made it difficult for a single bunny to run this mission, especially when your mid-air maneuvering is on cooldown. This mission is currently only spawning about a third or half of the amount of enemies it used to, like on Fortress Outskirts. TLDR, some missions definitely broke, some have weird glitches, and it insta-kills enemies on spawns, which is weird. But they said they're working on it, and there probably will be a patch in a couple of days. Now, this part is for the graphics and options side of the game. They said on the patch notes that they were fixing a bug involving audio on some characters' SFX spazzing out, like SFX playing twice in the same instance, or just outright being too pitchy and buggy. I don't really notice the fix since I don't really use the ability specified in the patch notes. You know, the one that causes the bugs. I believe it's Ultimate Bunny's 4th and some other characters' ability being way too loud. But by the way, they took off more than just 2 audio mixer settings in the audio tabs, and I'm using 2 of them. For the ones I use, it's midnight mode, which made everything sound a lot better and much more crisp, with the issue of sometimes it bugs out, making the audio 2 times louder than it should be, and the bass boost, which makes everything sound a bit more, well, with a bit more oomph, and it's a little less stressful on my ears than using midnight mode. But my issue with it is that sometimes it will not play any audio at all other than gunfire, which was very weird. But these 2 are currently removed from the game, so I had to imitate midnight mode somehow, and I had 2 options. Studio preference and headphone modes are the current ones that are available on the audio tab. They are fine by themselves, but they make some parts in the in-game audio sound like it's playing inside a plastic drum, or just makes sound effects seem like they're coming from a speaker in a ceramic pot from like a dozen yards away. Which is probably my fault for having audio virtualization turned on. But yeah, you can just turn it off, I guess. So if you're like me and use IEMs and play this game, here's the deal. There is a fix for all of these. Well, a different option, not really a fix. I mean, you can imitate the old settings available from midnight mode or bass boost if you're using both of those as well. It will definitely not be a one-to-one copy, but it can be pretty close if you know what you're doing. The only issue with this is if you're not an audiophile or you don't know how to use audio mixing software, you might just make everything sound worse. But you can always use like default settings included in some of those softwares. And if you're on PC and you can make your own preset audio curves like I do, you can use your PC stock audio chipset. I'm talking about Realtek audio console or something similar. But if you're not on Windows, maybe go check your console's audio settings. Maybe you can change something from there. If you guys don't know how to use Realtek audio console, you can also do this with SteelSeries Sonar or the Dolby thing, which I don't really use. It's going to depend on what's available for you, so feel free to use what you're comfortable with. But what you're gonna want to do if you want to imitate what was it called again, midnight mode, you're going to have to turn on audio normalization on your audio settings. So what it does is it basically balances out every single audio that's coming out of your game, so you can hear footsteps better. It's gonna make voice and dialogue sound clearer if you're having a hard time hearing them. It also makes gunfire sound less um well, a lot less louder than it should, but it also sometimes make gunfire from far away way too audible than it should be. So yeah, you definitely have to use this in conjunction with your audio curves on your console. And if you don't know how to do that, you can just basically use like a preset that your software has. And one last thing in regards to the graphics and option fixes they have done, the intermittent black lines thing that appears on your Descendant skin and or terrain objects that they said they fixed, especially for the characters that are very exposed. Yeah, it's still a thing, weirdly enough. You won't personally see it on your character inside the inventory menu or the customization menu anymore. Correct me if I'm wrong here, but sometimes it will show on a random player's character, and it's usually causing some weird FPS drop and some odd reason. I haven't really seen any terrain rendering issues yet, since I mostly play on open areas in like Fortress and White Knight Gulch as of the moment. But for outpost missions, the overlapping textures bug that I kept seeing in Sterile Land, it's still visible on some spots. That being said, loading in and out of mission feels a bit faster, especially when they fix some memory optimization problems the game had before. Also, this morning I had some issues with matchmaking. I was leveling and socketing my brand new bunny build, which I'm going to do on my ultimate bunny, who I just finished research on. I was doing the restart missions thing with a couple of randoms, and they said on the patch notes that if you restart the mission, you should be able to stay in the same squad as the players you're currently with. But it did not say in the patch notes that you're not going to get new players in the session if you do this. I'm talking about a what if scenario here as an example, but if you're on a squad with one empty slot and you restart the mission, you're not going to get a new player in it. In that specific slot, it's going to keep running the missions over and over with just the three of you. How do I know? Well, we did a total of 5 restarts, with one person leaving on the 4th run, meaning there's only 2 of us left. Nobody else was inserted into our sessions. Now you might say, well, it might just be because people aren't playing the mission you're doing. For context, I'm talking about Black Kuiper mining in Sterile Lands, the special ops mission, which I know a lot of people are doing. I left the session after the 5th run since there's like only 2 of us, and I went and redid the mission by going back to Albion, and it took 3 seconds to be match made into a new session with a full squad. So it's not an issue of no one else is doing this specific mission. In fact, a lot of people are doing this because of how boosted the rewards are now. So I don't know what's going on here. I also don't know if this is just another me issue because of my, internet. But restarting an already finished mission with a current group doesn't let new people enter your session, even if there's only like 2 of you. But redoing this special ops by going back to Albion will guarantee you with a full squad once the mission starts. So if you guys are like playing with friends and you're a party of 4, it's gonna be good for you. But if you're a random player like me and you just want to have a full squad, just go back to Albion and restart the mission. Don't do it in the mission, because you might end up playing completely solo if this bug happens to you. This needs to be brought to the devs' attention, since fixing the matchmaking issue actually made it worse. Anyways, hopefully good changes will come to the game soon. They have stated in the patch notes that they are deliberating on how to make use of our excess blueprints that we have farmed for, and hopefully turn it into something more rewarding than just converting them into gold. I can't wait for them to actually put a pity system in the game as well. The fact that I'm one of the unlucky people who gets a 20% chance drop reward after 15 runs or 20 runs, which by the way made me freaking almost quit the game several times already. It's also one of the reasons why I barely uploaded anything about this game for the past week or so. I'd like to see that change. The pity system should be a good way to make it feel rewarding for unlucky people like me, and well, it should be rewarding when it's done right, so let's hope for the best. And another thing I'm excited about is the talk about build diversity thing they mentioned on the patch notes. Hopefully we'll be able to swap socket types that we invested a catalyst on in a different loadout. If this is gonna work like how I imagined it would be, this will be an incredible quality of life change they'll put into the game. Probably even bigger than the current update we have right now. But well, for now it's just a dream, a wish, or a hope for the future. Still though, devs, if you're watching this video, please let us change the socket types of the slots that we invested catalyst on. Pretty please. Well, that's all I have for now in this preseason patch update they released. Once I find more weird bugs and weird things in this game, I'll probably let you guys know if it's something game breaking and you actually want to actively avoid them. I'll make another video on it. And also, if you made it this far into the video, I commend you. Thank you. Please leave a like, share, and subscribe for more gaming content and probably news. But for now, I wish you all a wonderful day. This is Nijimax signing off.